Hello
Koka.
and welcome to Military Mantra. In this interview, we have today Major Avinash Sahani from the Indian Army. And in this interview, we'll try to understand his journey of joining Indian Army, life in Parachute Regiment, and various life lessons that he has learned over his service. So thank you, sir, for coming on this interview and welcome.
Thank you for letting me come to your platform. And it was a long pending affair. You messaged me a long time back, but at that time I was not in the country, so I said maybe I'll be able to do it sometime later. And again I got engaged somewhere. Finally, I could say yes, and I'm both happy and lucky that yes, we've both come on a platform where we can share views and speak and discuss and learn from each other.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir, for coming. So my first question to you is, how was your life before joining the Fauj, and what was your motivation to join the Indian Army?
For me, somebody who studied in a Sainik school, some kind of quasi Fauji life was always present. I mean, I was always in some kind of quasi Fauji routine. And Fauj did start when I was 10 years old, when I joined in class 6. It was 1999. And since then, the journey was all about, becoming an independent man, becoming a man with good amount of virtues that are being told in the society, becoming somebody who could understand the basics of leadership. We did not have particular classes to introduce us to leadership or what leadership is. The lifestyle or the routine was such that you either become a part of the team or you become somebody who leads the team. So either ways, you were on the winning side. If you are a good team member, you contribute to the team, and your team heads in the right direction. And in the meanwhile, when you are a team member, if you can realize or analyze what or why things went wrong with the team leader, you can try not to repeat the same mistakes and try and find alternatives to what went wrong. And then you can subsequently correct the mistakes and become a good team leader. So for me, army was, yes, it was beginning of Sainik school. And if you ask me, I was a fourth generation guy in the military. My great grandfather was in the British Army. My grandfather was in the Air Force as an NCO. Yes, my elder father was retired from the signals as an NCO, and somehow maybe that was inherent in my family. And because I was somebody who had lots of energy and who preferred doing things in the outdoor, so yes, army was the obvious option. And I was equally good in studies, but then studies, so you would have to do studies because India mein bina padhe to kuch hota nahi hai. But I won't enjoy the studying part as much. I would, spending time outside. So that was my army life before joining the actual army or being commissioned. And then after Sainik school, I was lucky. I got into National Defense Academy in the first chance. I was in Golf Squadron in NDA, and then IMA, and then you got commissioned. So that is a little about my journey before actually getting commissioned.
Got it, sir. So if you could also speak about, your SSB experience back then, and how did you prepare, and what tips you would like to give to the aspirants who will be appearing for it?
There's so many people try and ask me the same thing about SSB. Back then when I went for my SSB, there were only 3 of us from my school, from my class in fact, who had cleared the written. And for a long time, people were not making it through the SSB in the first chance. The reasons could be many. So we were lucky that time. We had our registrar, Squadron Leader Yagnaraman. That time, Squadron Leader Yagnaraman, and he was a wonderful human being, wonderful teacher. And I went to no coaching classes outside my school. Generally, what people do is, even those people who are in Sainik school, they could go for a a stint or a small little tenure. I'll not say tenure, a small little orientation thing in the coaching centers. Said they do it not to learn anything, but to know the process of the SSB. What happens first? उसके बाद क्या होता है, फिर क्या होता है, फिर क्या होता है, and what is expected out of you. The good thing about going to a coaching class is they orient you in a manner when you know what to expect. But at the same time, let me reiterate that if you're somebody who's not the man, or now the girl or the woman, he or she is for the last 7-8 years, whatever years you've been training in a Sainik school or a military school or an RIMC, self coaching karke you cannot go try and put up a false facade, try and fool so many people who are experts and go through the SSB or get through the SSB. ऐसा नहीं होता. So coaching, when I say coaching or when I advise or suggest to people to go there, it is because you get the idea of what is happening and what is expected out of you. And obviously, if you're somebody from a military school background, things that are expected out of you are different. And if you're somebody who's had a civilian background, who's stayed with his parents, her parents, and gone to a day school and experienced a different kind of lifestyle, they'll have different expectations from you. Finally, what they are looking at is somebody who's like a clay. अगर आपको उस selection के बाद, if they try and mold you in a particular shape, if you're that material who can be molded, I believe you are somebody who gets selected. Somebody who's not that material which can be molded will obviously will not be selected. But that does not imply that you are bad or you're inferior or you are somebody who's not competitive or somebody who does not have IQ or whose psychology is bad. Generally, हम इंडिया में क्या सोचते हैं? If you've made the cut, oh, वो तो you're somebody very big. Or if you've not made the cut, अरे नहीं यार, वो तो he's no good, he's not made into the competition. You never know, somebody who's not made into SSB will become an entrepreneur and change things for good for so many millions of people. So people generally misunderstand that. And इस stage में क्या होता है? When you are a teen, you are a man or a woman of extremes. अगर कुछ हो जाएगा, that makes me successful, that makes me a champion. अगर वो नहीं कर पाऊंगा, then I'm nobody, I've lost everything, I'm going through a rough phase in my life, how will I come out of it? Come on, you've not even stepped into the world. So when I went for my SSB, I knew what to expect, mota, because what Squadron Leader Yagnaraman told me or taught me was what he experienced. So there are so many things that had changed. I was okay in English, so I didn't have problems in group discussion. I didn't have much of a problem in delivering of a lecture at 3 minutes, 4 minutes lecture at. I would write fair English in a fair speed, so I didn't have problem that time in word appreciation test, thematic appreciation test, and I don't know what all test, story writing, whatever, jo bhi hota hai. I didn't have issues because I was not trying to become somebody else or trying to tell the people who had come for the SSB, my companions or my peers, कि भाई मैं हूँ यहाँ का leader. That was not my intent. Never. But at the same time, if you were somebody who was disciplined, which I was, if you were somebody who could speak fair amount of English, which I did, if you were somebody who had a good physique, which I had, courtesy my genes and my hard work that I put in my Sainik school. Obviously, you have so much of games and running and doing all those things, obstacle courses and whatnot. If you are somebody who's who's up to date with the current affairs, then it is a genuine outfall that people will start to respect you. That your opinion will have some weight behind it. Your opinion will have some logic, which again people will start to acknowledge. So people generally accepted me because of my background and the kind of team member I was that time to begin with. But then there were places where I was caught off guard. I knew nothing about the group tasks. The GTO literally had to yell at me, "Kya kar raha hai? What are you trying to do?" and I was still trying to figure out ये है क्या, ये डंडा है, इसको कहाँ रखना है, क्या करना है. And then probably he did not want me to fail, and he told me, whatever you're thinking, think it loud thinking करो. So I had to speak about that कि मैं ये सोच रहा हूँ. Yeah, okay. Then he started, cheering. हाँ, okay, right, अच्छा है. And then I got to know कि मुझे करना क्या है. And I went through. And good number of people passed in my Bhopal SSB, and people, some of them come with all kind of nonsense in their head कि इस SSB में पास नहीं होते, उस SSB में ये नहीं होता, वहाँ पे ऐसा. I mean, come on, you do your bit. If you are somebody who's made for that kind of leadership or that kind of role, आप clear कर जाओगे. Even if you don't clear, you come back a wise person. आपको नहीं तो सिविल दुनिया में कभी नहीं पता चलता वर्ड एप्रिसिएशन टेस्ट क्या होता है. How are they checking your head when they are seeing you write a story? And obviously somebody who even after studying in a day school has had some exposure in sports, games, extracurricular activities, he or she will emerge as a better human being. Confidence ज़्यादा होगा, perspective wide होगा, और flexible perspective होगा कि my right versus your right is okay, So obviously the tolerance level will be high. So these are all things that contribute to your personality, or you being a military leader, or somebody who can become a military leader in future. तो मेरे को ज्यादा issues नहीं हुए थे SSB में. But then yes, इस पूरे पिछले 3-4-5 मिनट में मैंने जो important चीजें कही, if people can pause the video and listen to it in bits and pieces, they will maybe derive important lessons from it.
Got it, sir. So there is another concept which is very popular because we go to SSBs, the concept of officer-like qualities, the OLQs. That there are some 15 OLQs. How do you look at it? Can people develop and go, or does it eventually get developed? Because you have seen a lot of young officers coming into your battalion unit as well. So how do you look at OLQs?
मैंने इस पे एक पूरा वीडियो बना रखा है. There's a proper video on OLQs. The 15 or 16 qualities may not be the same, but mota they are the same. Also, there could be 50 more qualities that make you a good leader or a good officer. And जो learning curve है ना life का, it does not stop. Mr. Ratan Tata is a great leader. Mr. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is a great leader at his age. He was a great leader, which is ever evolving, and it's a dynamic thing. However, the core philosophy or the basic principles or the pillars remain the same. जिसमें the basic thing is you have to be a good human being. झूठ नहीं बोलना, जो बचपन में आपके माताजी पिताजी सिखाते हैं. किसी को बुली नहीं करना. Don't throw around your weight. जाके पीठ पीछे चुगली मत करिए. Become a good team member. Do some amount of social work. Try and help people in need. Have sympathy, empathize at times if you can, because then you'll get to know कि अगले वाले का problem maybe genuine है या है जो आप अपने perspective से नहीं देख पा रहे हैं, but once you get into his or her shoes, you will get to know. Empathizing, trying to offer alternatives to people when they're in a problem, trying to offer emotional comfort, because at times that is all that they want. है ना, पैसा, पॉपुलैरिटी, ये वो सब पीछे छूट जाता है. At times people look for emotional comfort. So if you can do these things and speak in a manner which is acceptable, मतलब okay type English, because मेरे को तो भाई वो I don't have the typical convent or ICSE accent, वो हमें नहीं सिखाया गया. But मैं उतनी English बोल लेता हूँ जिससे काम चल जाता है. I believe people can understand what I say. And उसमें grammar errors ज़्यादा नहीं है. So yes, that is acceptable, because that is only the beginning. फिर you will go and train in NDA or IMA or OTA, then you will get commissioned, you will have superiors above you who will tell you the actual way to do things, and then you will modify things your way. हर चीज copy paste नहीं होता. Example, Sachin Tendulkar might be the best batsman, but then if he teaches somebody to bat, you will not see him batting like Sachin, because you also have your own style. आप उसको you put them together and try and get the best out of it. So that is how I'll say it. People who are interested can go and see that video, मतलब मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता कितने फॉलोअर्स हैं और कितने लाइक्स हैं, ऑल दैट मुझे नहीं फर्क पड़ता. बट देन मुझे लगा कि देयर आर सो मेनी पीपल who are not coming from a military background and want to know how do I think about it. Not that whatever I have said is true, not that I was a GTO और मुझे पता है कि वहां पे exactly क्या ढूंढते हैं, बट जो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है जिसकी वजह से मुझे कभी लीडरशिप इश्यूज नहीं हुए. आई नेवर हैड पीपल नॉट following what I am trying to tell, or trying to rebel, or trying to get out of the line जिससे organization को problem हो. So I believe whatever little experience I've had in my career does have some weight around it, weight behind it.
Got it.
So yes, interested people can do that.
Sir, if you could also speak about how was your experience in the academy, both NDA and IMA, and any memorable incidents that you would like to share.
Academy NDA wala experience was really special. I'll say it is as much difficult as it was enlightening. Sainik school se hum gaye the, we already knew so much of it, but then NDA is pitched at a different level. Everything goes to the next level. Doing Camp Greenhorn or going through Camp Rovers. मैं वॉलीबॉल स्टार होता था अपने सैनिक स्कूल में. देन यू गो एंड सी सो मेनी गुड प्लेयर्स फ्रॉम सो मेनी डिफरेंट स्कूल्स एंड अकेडमीज. उनके बीच compete करके फिर उस लेवल तक पहुंच पाना. या एकेडमिक्स में आई वाज गुड इन माय स्कूल. If I had to again prove myself in the academy, I again had to become a torchie, which I did become for a term. So the competition levels are, so much higher because you represent one state. I came from Odisha, and I was a proud Odia at all times. And at that place, I had to compete with people from civilian background who were so much good in studies. I had to compete with people from RIMC or military school or the different Sainik schools who were again so much, they were so much better at their own specializations. So it actually gives you that platform to assess yourself and then raise your bars, and so that you can try and match with those guys. We had foreign cadets as well. The Tajikistan cadets are so strong, well built physically, and their way of looking at world or their way of looking at training. So it was an enriching experience in the academy. And yes, academy is another place where we made such good friends. Before I made this Zoom call, I was just speaking to a naval friend of mine. He's an aviator, and we were just discussing our old days, how days were in the NDA. And the resilience was one thing, or the perseverance part was one thing, which increased exponentially because of the kind of training I went through in NDA. So that was very, very enriching. Also, I got introduced to the instructors from different regiments, both the officer instructors and the NCOs and the JCOs, which again gave me personally a different, I'll say, push towards a particular regiment, again, the Parachute Regiment. And I can't single out a particular, one incident. Agar 6 महीने की training होती तो maybe 3 साल में तो we had so many good incidents. First हमें किसी का torch नहीं आया, and we were all hiding, सैनिक school type. बहुत बार हमने doubts दिखाए seniors को. I can't comment whether it was right or wrong. But वही है, my right versus your right. वो पुष्पा वाला डायलॉग ना, झुकेगा नहीं, तो सेम है. वो भी नहीं झुकेंगे, हम भी नहीं झुकेंगे, because my conscience does not allow me. मुझे पता है मैं सही हूँ. So that kind of tussle with the seniors. And मैं ऐसा ही हूँ. I've always been the नहीं झुकेगा types. I've been receiving boots after boots after boots, but you can't help it. Old habits die hard. कुछ नहीं कर सकते. तो ऐसा कोई सिंगल मेमोरी नहीं है, बट yes, I'll say it was a very, very enriching experience. Those 3 years in NDA, it was tough, it was challenging, it was enlightening, it was full of adventure and emotions at times. So yes, it's good. And then the next year in IMA was again a good experience. I had some time to myself. NDA से जाने के बाद फिर तीन टाइम खाना मिल जाता था. And I put on around 6 to 7 kgs of weight in IMA with the same waist though. I put on muscles basically. NDA में खाना was a luxury. But yes, IMA में खाना मिलने लगा, नींद पूरी होने लगी, तो I did put on weight, and then we got commission. यही है.
Got. So how did you make a decision of joining the Parachute Regiment? What was your motivation back then in IMA when you chose?
मैं सैनिक स्कूल से ही वैसा था ना कि मुझे जो बेस्ट है वो बनना है.
अच्छा.
मेरे को आई हैव टू बी इन दैट लॉट कि वो फर्स्ट आ रहा है, मैं क्यों नहीं फर्स्ट आ रहा. आया फिर फर्स्ट, वो ऐसा कर रहा है, मैं क्यों नहीं कर रहा. लगाया, फिर हुआ. एनडीए पहुंचे तो हमें पता था, तब तक पता था कि इन्फेंट्री इज द फाइटिंग यूनिट. सबसे ज्यादा एड्रेनलिन या क्या बोलेंगे उसको, मैस्कुलिनिटी या माचोइज्म उसी में है. देन आई मेट अ डिविजनल कमांडर 6 feet 3 inches tall. He still serving. मैं उनका नाम नहीं लेना चाहूंगा, but yes. So subsequently he became my CO also.
अच्छा.
तो मतलब ये कौन है यार, लंबा आदमी है, मरून, डिफरेंट कलर बेरे, shoulder full of badges, and मतलब each badge speaks about itself. So and then he would be somebody who would act mature, not trying to trouble people unnecessarily. Cadets को छोटे छोटी चीजों पे तो हमें लगता था कि ये तो दिल का भी बड़ा आदमी है, मतलब he is so forgiving also. तो यार ऐसा कुछ बनना चाहिए ना स्पेशल. जब हमें काबिलियत है, बस उसी दिन मन बना लिया कि भैया ये स्पेशल फोर्सेस है तो ये बनना है. एंड आई एम दैट स्टबर्न म्यूल टाइप कि एक बार वो कर दिया तो कर दिया, बस बना लिया मन वहीं पे.
So before we go ahead with some more question about your life in the Parachute Regiment, if you could also speak about your initiative on the Gearsmith. What do you do there? What is the vision behind that?
Gearsmith, okay. Gearsmith is actually very close to my heart because you see, एक चीज होता है ऑपरेटर, एक होता है उसकी स्किल्स. ऑपरेटर प्लस स्किल्स प्लस गियर मेक्स द ऑपरेटर कंप्लीट. सो ऑपरेटर तो मैं या हमारा जो कम्युनिटी था स्पेशल फोर्सेस वाले, most of them are good, very good. Skills, most of them are good in their skills also. जहाँ पे मैं good बोलता हूँ, it is all comparative. My good could be somebody is very good or excellent, or it may not be good at all. So I will not bloat around ना कि we are extremely good, best. मैं नहीं कर सकता हूँ, मैं good. So what was lacking? What was lacking is the gear. क्यों important है gear? See, all the special forces across the world are doing the same thing. हर कोई दौड़ रहा है. Everybody is doing the PT. Everybody is fit. Everybody is doing unarmed combat. Everybody is jumping out of the aircraft. Most of them, if not everybody. Army special forces divers हैं. Into counterinsurgency scenarios. We've seen firefights. We've seen people losing their lives, limbs. तो performance difference कहाँ आता है? If you have a aircraft which can fly for 7 hours, example दे रहा हूँ, and drop you in some part of the world, your range increases. आपका operations का range बढ़ जाता है, and then you can do your para drop and do whatever your task is, covert है, overt है, whatever. At the same time, you are equally capable, but then your aircraft can fly only 3 hours. Can you reach that place? If your country wants you to reach that place in terms of an eventuality, you cannot. Then you will need a air-to-air refueler. फिर वो air-to-air refueler का फिर pod का complement वो part होना चाहिए आपके aircraft में. अगर नहीं है तो again you don't have the endurance. So so unless and until you have that right kind of equipment or gear, you have a void. And हमारे special forces में instead of having excellent people and excellent good skills, we always had this vacuum or void in gear. And I was lucky, my wife would fly outside the country very often, so मैं उनसे मंगवा लेता था. My boots, trousers, belt, most of these things are imported. And then I would realize कि अगर ये सामान हम सबके पास होता तो लाइफ कितनी इजी हो जाती. ठंड कम लगती, बारिश में कम भीगते, पैर कम खराब होते, you know. So I thought, why not try and manufacture something in this country? उसके फायदे अनेक होंगे. First, you are proud that you could manufacture it in your country. Second, the prices will come down. They'll be affordable. So I wanted to become that somebody who manufactures Western standard gear or equipment and prices it at a place where it becomes affordable. कि एक बार खरीदा and 10 साल के लिए भूल गए. You don't have to think about the product. So it's worth it. So that was something which I wanted to do. I have made small little strides. It's taking time because of COVID thing. The manufacturing speed has been hit across the country. So yes, it is slow and steady, but then yes, I'll make it. My resilience is my specialty, perseverance. I don't give up. So I'll make it.
So the audience that you're catering to is basically the armed forces, or is it also for the civilian world, or just the armed forces?
Anything that is military grade, mil specs, can easily fit in to the job that is being performed or the kind of adventure that you're looking forward to in the civil world. There will be few products which will be exclusively for the military because I don't want them to fall in the wrong hands. And then there will be products like the trousers and the jackets and other stuff which are like mil specs and which is open to anybody and everybody.
Okay, got it, sir. So we'll come back to your life in the army because you were in the 11 Parasef. So we all hear about the probation that happens in the special forces and the Parachute Regiment. We've seen a lot of videos. How was your experience in the probation of the 11 Parasef?
When I got commissioned, I was commissioned in 2 Parasef. Okay. And that is the unit that I chose. It was in Bangalore. And 5 of us reported the first day, and I had to say thank you after 35 or 40 days because of some injury in my right knee.
Okay.
It was a big setback for me because the kind of physical standards that I had, probation was not a problem. The kind of temperament that I had, the resilience that I had, again, probation was not a problem. But to have an injury and then the injury growing to that level wherein you yourself have to say that I cannot continue with the training was a problem. It was a problem for me to accept कि मैं नहीं कर पाया. My ego was severely bruised. But मुझे पता था कि इसके beyond करूंगा तो probation भी शायद पूरा ना हो. I might not even get selected and I might injure my right knee to an extent wherein I can't come back again. So couple of sleepless nights, but then I made a call. I again believe in making the call. There's no point, postponing the decision. It does not help. So I came back to infantry for 6 months, prepared myself, got out of the swelling in my right knee, did some strengthening stuff, whatever जो भी चाहिए था, lots of stretching and all ये वो. I again re-volunteered. This time I was given 11. 11 was a new raising. They had officers and men coming from all the units, but they did not have an officer who was selected out of the probation.
Okay.
मेरे साथ भी I think there were 5 or 6 of us when we started, and this time, ironically, at the end of the first month, I think I was the only one who was left. बाकियों ने फिर for their own reasons, they said they would not like to continue, and they moved out. And when you are the only officer remaining, things are a little difficult because एक तो कैसे बताऊं, your frequency is at a different level. अभी आप लड़कों के साथ जाके एक लेवल के beyond जो नहीं कर सकते. You can't get dirty beyond a level. आपको इमोशनल कंफर्ट देने वाला जो ऑफिसर बडी होता है वो he is not there. The men who are watching you, they know that he is the only one who is left, so they have high regards. Also the expectations are high. The ustad again is, you are the only thing which is jetting out. आपके ट्रेनिंग टीम में भी आप हर चीज में आप पहले दिखते हो, पहले चुपते हो, ये ऐसा क्यों कर रहा है, ये ऐसा क्यों नहीं कर रहा, इसको काम दो, ये कहाँ छूट गया, ये सिंगल्ड आउट. सो मैंने बताया था पहले भी, नाइट नेविगेशन मैंने अकेले किया हुआ है, अकेला. आई हैव अ वेपन, आई हैव माय पिट्ठू, माय रेडियो सेट, एंड you are alone on a track. Not that I was scared of anything, but अगर कोई ऑफिसर बडी होता तो हम दो होते शायद, बातचीत करते करते जो हमने 3 दिन 3 रात निकाला without any sleep or rest, it would have been a tad bit easier. That was not there. But the other side of it is when you see the situation from a different perspective, which I generally see, and it gives me a lot of confidence that I am the only survivor now. So now there is no question of me saying कि अब नहीं हो पाएगा. In fact, this thing has never really hit my head कि नहीं हो पाएगा. मतलब ये concept शायद बचपन से ही it has never come into my habit बोल लो, perception बोल लो, कि ये नहीं हो सकता, ये नहीं हो पाएगा. That has never been my psyche. Difficult, yes. Lot of pain, yes. Lot of agony, yes. Challenging, very much. But cannot be done, नहीं. ऐसा कभी मेरे जहन में नहीं आया, कभी आता ही नहीं मेरे को कि अरे नहीं हो सकता, नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता कभी. There are ways and means, and it can be done. So लगा रहा. Physicals में there is not a problem. I passed all my tests. Written में there was no problem. Again, I did fairly well in my tests. The problem was in my temperament in terms of short temper. Now that is again a genetic thing. I can't help much. Temper I couldn't help much, but I could always help in the output. That I don't do anything while I get angry. And people were trying to reaffirm कि ये ऐसा कोई knee jerk reaction तो नहीं लेगा नाराज होकर. So my probation went for another 1 month.
Okay.
So I did 4 complete months of probation, while my group was again the boys are maroon and they got into their particular teams. मेरा probation बोला कि फिर से 0 से start करो. तो मेरा कहीं बीच में कहीं कोई एक scuffle हो गया था किसी बाहर वाले के साथ. And जो है अभी I can't put a sugar coated thing and try and act कि मैं तो बिल्कुल शांत हूँ and I'm docile and I'm very good. No, I can't. And people who are honest, they don't have to do that. हुआ तो हुआ, अभी punishment है तो है, consequences हैं तो है, we'll go through it. क्या हो गया? We'll go through it. And मेरे को जाना भी पड़ा 1 महीना और extra. But then so be it. क्या हो गया? Then 4 महीने बाद probation came to an end and I was marooned, and it was very, very special because I wanted to go to the young officers course with a maroon beret, and 10-15 दिन कुछ बाकी थे course के लिए. So 10-15 दिन नहीं बाकी थे. I think it was 1 month. So I went for the basic jumps. आगरा में मैंने अपने basic jumps किए. And जिस दिन night jump खत्म हुआ, next day I sat on my bullet, drove all the way from Agra to Mau via Rajasthan. Course start किया.
You went through the probation, so there are a few qualities that they're looking for, right? And there were some qualities they were looking for in SSB as well. So what is so different that you're looking for in the probation in any candidate or probationer that is there? What do you look for?
देखिए, when you go through the SSB, and if you've made through the SSB, you reaffirm the fact that you have the basic leadership qualities. Now, Special Forces probation is testing you for the same things under stress. I'll give you a small little example. Let's say I give you a weapon, I give you a pistol, I ask you to fire 10 rounds on a target. And I tell you the stance. So आपको basic firing सिखाया गया है, training जो भी है, you stand and you deliver those rounds. अभी मैं इसको अगर special forces context में बताना चाहूँ, I'll give you only 5 seconds and tell you to deliver those 10 rounds on that target and continue to do it for 4 hours in the day and 4 hours in the night. So you have limited time, you have more targets, you have to amplify your skills to meet those expectations, and you have to do it again and again and again and again and again, and you have to do it independently.
Mhm.
So the basic attributes remain the same, but when the time is in paucity, when the demands are exceptional because you are supposed to be operating behind the enemy lines, out of area, in a small team, without any external support or reinforcement. So you need that X factor in your head. X factor. So yes, that is what they look कि भैया इसमें वो X factor है कि नहीं कर पाने की. Stress में how does he react?
Got it. Sir, you were speaking about your paratrooping experience in Agra. So how was your first jump experience? And also I see you have the combat free faller badge as well. So how was that different and your experience?
Okay. Jumping has never been a easy thing for humans. There are some people, yes, who've gone beyond it, but jump करते वक्त डर तो लगता है. There are no two theories about it. There is no doubt about it. So, but I knew क्योंकि हम स्विमिंग पूल में 10 मीटर से जंप करते थे एकेडमी में, फर्स्ट टर्म ऑनवर्ड्स करते रहे. वहां पे whenever I would take that leap as in the step outside, मेरी आंखें बंद हो जाती थी, which is a natural human defense mechanism. That आंखें बंद हो जाएंगी, पानी में स्प्लैश होगा तो your eyes remain safe. That is the natural human. मैंने बहुत बार कोशिश किया कि यार इस बार आंख खोल के जंप कर लेता हूँ, नहीं हुआ. And that's the truth. कभी नहीं कर पाया मैं. So para jumping में I was pretty sure that I'm not going to hit anything. So I told my subconsciousness कि भैया कहीं hit नहीं होने वाला, आंख बंद मत करना. And officer था तो obviously मैं पहले था, and I was told the position and all. And I have been an athletic kind of guy, तो मुझे flexibility issues नहीं थे. कुछ लोगों को particular posture बनाने में problem होता है. They have issues in understanding a stance or a position. I never had that. So that was also not a problem. The only thing that I wanted to keep in my head is don't close your eyes. And I was very happy. I made the first exit. It was a proper fall for a few seconds. We were told to count. Obviously, I couldn't count apart from the first thing. 1000 ही गिन पाया मैं, उसके बाद गिन नहीं पाया. I was so engrossed in that fall. And suddenly there was a jerk. Parachute deploy हुआ and I looked up. And parachute almost ठीक ठाक खुल गया था. And all those drills of I'm forgetting those words. Basically what you do is you see that your parachute is open, you see that your risers are not entangled, you see that they're all in 4 different directions, they're all stretched out properly, and you see that there is nobody above you because you want to avoid leapfrogging. There's nobody below you because you don't want to leapfrog the other guy. And then you see the horizon and you see everything is so quiet. ऊपर सब शांत होता है, minus a few guys who are trying to shout and convey their happiness. The first jump, it's always special. And जब हमने लैंडिंग किया और रोल तो खैर रोल तो हो नहीं पाता एक्चुअली, but then I was not careful about tucking my chin, so I had a bad kind of landing. Sir had a bang with the ground. Lucky that I had my helmet, but then ऐसे टकराया. So first jump I learned my lesson that don't be so engrossed that you forget the drills जो आपके उस्तादों ने इतने दिन इतने बार सिखाया है. And बाकी 4 jumps I had no problems, including the night jump. I was quite steady. I had no emergencies, God willing. However, the free fall was a different game altogether because you knew that you are the who's going to operate the parachute. Static line में you have a line which pulls the parachute out. उसमें हवा भरता है and वो अपने आप it becomes functional and आप उसके नीचे हो. So it's fairly easy. But free fall में you are to make that exit, stay in that stable form, whatever, full frog, semi frog and spread eagle and whatever. ये spread eagle position में start करते हैं हम लोग. and you're supposed to be aware of what's happening, count the thing, and then make that position and pull your handle. So पहले 3-4 जंप तो एयर अवेयरनेस था ही नहीं कि इन एंड अराउंड क्या हो रहा है. यू आर सो फोकस्ड ऑन योर position, because if you have a tumble, you hardly have time to recover from that tumble, come back to that position and deploy your handle or pull your handle at that altitude. उस altitude के नीचे जाओगे तो your automatic activation device fire हो जाएगा. The parachute will deploy, but you will get a severe warning कि आप free fall के लायक नहीं है. So many things going in your head, emergencies, ऐसा होगा तो क्या, वैसा होगा तो क्या. The air awareness is very, very less. However, in the static line, कूदे, parachute खुला, and you see the world. यहाँ पे for the first 5, 7, 10 seconds, you just falling, praying God and trying to do everything to put yourself in a stable position. And then obviously when you pull your handle, you see the parachute moving up slowly, deploying, getting into the shape of the better in the free fall kind of thing. You have so much more time in air, because यहाँ पे आपको 1200 से drop किया, by the time you open your parachute you are already at 1000, and the rate of descent is again more in a round canopy. In a static line jump, free fall jump, it's a ram air canopy. Your glide is much better. The ratio of you falling down vis-a-vis gliding is much better. So you have so much more time in air. You seeing the world from so much more height, and subsequently you बढ़ता जाता है. There are jumps wherein आप 24-25 feet से jump करते हैं, jump and pull, and you're in that air at 22,000 feet. Imagine the view कि आप कितना दूर तक देख पाएंगे और कैसे क्या देख पाएंगे.
Got it.
So yes.
Sir, you're also an officer who has done diving as well, which is very rare to be able to do combat free fall and diver. So how does that happen, and your experience as a diver?
It was more of a, I'll say, opportunity. I mean, I was lucky, and probably the people who allowed me to do it, they also believed in my capability. I did the diving thing first.
Okay.
I did the diving thing first in Kochi. I was a combat diver first, and then when I was in the SFF for 2.5 years, that is where I saw this chance of going and doing combat free fall. And I went and did my free fall basic first, and then I did my oxygen phase and became a combat free faller. Diving is again very, very I'll say demanding in terms of your physical activities, physical capabilities. You have to be at the peak of your physical fitness. Din mein, your morning starts at 4:30. You prepare all the equipment, do 40-50 minutes of running, do 40-50 minutes of exercises, bodyweight exercises. Then you go to the bridge, jump from the bridge, which is 9 meters, high, get into the channel, again do some 1.5 hours of swimming, finning. फिर 20 मिनट के ब्रेक के बाद again you wear your set पहन के floating, ये करके floating. It's a very, very physically demanding course, and there is some good amount of learning also. Diving is not only wearing a scuba set and going in water. That is one part of it which is told or taught to the civilians outside. Hamara diving would have both the air diving phase and the oxygen diving phase. Jahan pe you'll see the rebreathers. You'll see 2 tubes.
Yes.
So that was specifically for the military to do compass attacks and all. And it was good 3 months of good ragda and good learnings from the Marcos, because it is their bread and butter. So obviously they know so much more and so much better in a refined manner. Apart from Marcos, you would have some very, very good divers who are only divers, but very, very professional. I could ask so many questions, learn so much from them, and I was lucky. I'll put it in one word. I was lucky. मैंने पहले diving कर ली, because I knew swimming, because the CEO could trust my capabilities. He sent me for diving. मैं diver बन गया. Because I was lucky. I was in an organization. Everything is destiny, karma, lucky, hard work, capability. You put all these things together, and then you arrive at whatever you want to arrive. वहाँ फ्री फॉल का स्कोप था, मैं गया, आई डिड फेयरली वेल. नाउ ही इज रिटायर्ड. कर्नल शिरीष पांडे इंस्टाग्राम पे हैं यहाँ. सो ही वाज द कमांडेंट दैट टाइम. he could see that हाँ मैं कर सकता हूँ उसको. तो फिर yes, he helped me in learning the right lessons in the right frame.
Got it.
So that is how it has happened.
So as a young officer, when you joined the Parasef, so how was your first combat experience in terms of learnings that you had there?
Combat experience जहाँ जिस zone में मैं था, it was a ID prone zone.
Okay.
मेरा पहले कांटेक्ट होने से पहले I saw men not with his leg, somebody with his intestines out, somebody hit with an ID, somebody मतलब दो तीन लोग, and the body was ridden with bullets. So that was my first combat experience of seeing somebody in blood and out of his life. और हमारा जो पहला combat experience था, it was I will again not try and bring in controversy. It was somewhere near the international border, and it was something to do with it was not a chance contact. It was something which is very, very planned, and we did the preparation part of it, or collecting the information part of it, for good 2 weeks, and then we had to demolish the target, which included living and non-living beings, मतलब man and material दोनों था. And then we had to come back to our own base. Combat experience ही मतलब फिर वही है कि anything that is putting your life, or knowingly putting yourself in a place wherein you know that there are chances that you can lose your life. For me, that is a combat experience. Yes, it is different when you are man versus man, because he is also equally, I'll not say trained, but motivated, because he does not want to lose his or her life, and he would put all his efforts, her efforts, to that combat category into a different level. But otherwise, any activity wherein you are trying to put yourself in a position जहाँ पे you are on the edge. अभी you need to dive into a place जहाँ पे it is all dark ना. Indian Ocean is not like जो आप जैसे देखते हो स्कूबा में कि मछलियां आ रही हैं, पत्थर है, कोरल्स है. It is fucking dark, पूरा काला. या ब्रह्मपुत्र में डाइव करने चले गए, the undercurrents are at 15-16 knots, फेस मास्क ही उड़ के चला जा रहा है. You are hardly आपने एक रस्सी पकड़ा हुआ है, उससे आप एक हाथ से लटके हुए हैं, एक हाथ से सर्च कर रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं दिख रहा है. Your breathing speed is a little fast, or sometimes you breathe slowly to preserve that compressed oxygen, to have more endurance. ऊपर वाला चिंता है क्यों नहीं सांस ले रहा है. He is giving you 10 things. मैंने बोला ना पिस्टल वाला एग्जांपल, there will be 10 things that will be bothering you. तो उसमें how do you find your peace? Zen बोलते हैं ना, zen. OnePlus वाले फोन में है ना zen. तो उसमें कैसे आपने उस जोन में जाना है, क्या एरोप्लेन मोड वाले जोन में, वो तभी आप जा पाओगे जब आपके लाइफस्टाइल में वो चीज, इट इज देयर इन योर लाइफस्टाइल. इफ यू आर समबडी हु हैज सम अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम इन हिज डेली रूटीन टू सिट एंड इंट्रोस्पेक्ट, कैसे मैं बैठ के सिर्फ सोचता हूँ क्या हो रहा है लाइफ में. यू इमेजिन एनीथिंग दैट यू वांट टू, you imagine any goddamn dream that you want to think kuch bhi, anything which has no sense, but are you doing it? Are you somebody who detaches himself or herself from everything, internet, ye mataji pitaji dost bhai behan biwi bacche, and you have some me time? If you are, it helps you, because उस time पे everything is happening at high speed. हर चीज high speed पे हो रहा है. If you also react in a manner जहाँ पे it's कैसे बताऊं, things are happening at high speed, you are supposed to react at high speed, which you are, but if you get into the trauma of thinking in high speed, and then you go overboard, फिर आप jittery हो जाते हो, you lose control. तो उस time you need to be calm. And if you're calm, 10 things will come to your head in the right time. If you lose the calmness, you'll get entangled in that one thing and you'll miss out on those 9 things. So it is something that you will have to experience to know how it is. I might write any number of words or put any number of sentences on the paper, but the feeling that you get when you jump or when you're diving inside water or you are in a combat or you are in any kind of street fight. You see 2 people pouncing on you, if you don't fight back in a manner, they'll kill you or they'll put you in a embarrassing situation jahan pe you'll have lots of injuries and lots of trouble. So that is another bloody situation jahan pe your adrenaline is high. So that is another challenging situation. So see, most of these situations that I just mentioned are similar. So आप जब तक street fight में जाओगे नहीं, मैं आपको कितने भी कराटे lessons डोजो में बता दूंगी ये पंच है और ये ब्लॉक है और ये ऐसा है, नहीं होगा.
So if you could also tell us, in combat, what was your favorite weapon?
My weapon, I have always carried an M4.
Okay.
But I was a weapon buff. Is तो नहीं बोल सकता अभी. I'm not in exact वो नहीं बता पाऊंगा आज के era का. But I was a weapon buff. NDA days से. I would read anything and everything about weapons. So I always knew that M4 is a superior platform. There are multiple reasons. Rate of fire, range, stability while you fire in full auto mode or have a double tap. We would generally have this double tap kind of firing. And the center of gravity of the weapon is when you were tired, जैसे बच्चे की तरह, और when you have an UPGL उसको ऐसे लगा लेते थे. टवोर का वो सब नहीं था. टवोर was very very well suited for a close quarter battle. Rooms में you want to cut the corners, which M4 could also do, but that is specifically meant for that. So again, I'm not saying Tavor was bad. M4 was my favorite. If not M4, I would like to carry a micro Uzi.
Okay.
कि भैया, there's so many people who can deliver the rounds at the target end. जहाँ भी मैं अपना weapon से I can protect myself and I can guide people what to do or direct people what to do. जब मैं vehicle में बैठता था, when I was in a vehicle, and the convoy is 7-8 hours long, I would 100% keep the micro Uzi in my hand. ऐसे पकड़ के I would sit with everything around in the chamber and everything in place, because I know if something goes wrong, I will not be able to pull out the M4, put it in a manner wherein I orient and then fire back. And the rate of fire was the highest, the maximum in a Uzi, micro Uzi. And for shorter distance, the 9mm had enough stopping power. क्योंकि पहाड़ों पे generally if you're fired upon, the range will not be 100 meters. उतना जगह नहीं है. It will be 25 meters, 30 meters, max 50 meters. So it had good stopping power. So I would always carry a Uzi ऐसे बैठ के.
So since you have served in SF unit and even in armed forces, if I can ask you, any 3 life lessons that you have learned which you still cherish and use it in your current civilian world, what would 3 be?
Life lessons. Never give up. Core philosophy. Never give up. Second, be a good human being first to begin with. If you are a good human being, you can become any good thing. Father, friend, entrepreneur, CEO, Prime Minister, Chief Minister. You become anything. You pick up anything and you turn it into gold. Be a good human being. Third, I would say the discipline part of it. Discipline का मतलब ये नहीं है कि मैं कैसे बताऊं, फौजी तरीके से बाल काट के और पहुंच जाऊं. Discipline is working without supervision in a manner people don't question your loyalty or your efficiency, and reaching बोलते हैं फौज में ना, right time, right dress, right place. If you do these 3 things, 80% is taken care of. If you're in the right time, right dress, right place, बचा क्या आप? बचा आपके काम की efficiency. And if you're a good man who is honest, he'll do the काम also in an efficient manner. Baki everything else will fall in its place. You'll then slowly understand right man, right job hona chahiye. If you put a man in the right job, he will perform 10 times better rather than you putting your weight on him कि तू यही करेगा and get sadistic or derive sadistic pleasure out of it. So ये basic तीन चीजें हैं: discipline, good human being, and never give up.
Got it, sir. So since a lot of aspirants will be watching this, what will be your message to all of them who wants to join the forces?
पहली बात भैया ऐसा है कि it's not an easy life. It is very glamorous. When you see me in uniform, maroon beret, and all those badges, it is very glamorous. But वो साल में एक दिन होता था. When my wife, तो उस टाइम गर्लफ्रेंड थी, when she wanted to marry, I told her कि भैया ये एक दिन होता है जब तुम you will see me in uniform साल में. 300 days it will be difficult. I might not be there while you are pregnant and you would need my support. I might not be there when my parents are looking for that extra, shoulder to rest. There will be times when you will need my emotional support, but मैं नहीं रहूँगा. So भैया, it is not an easy life. Absolutely not an easy life. It's a very challenging life. So if you are signing in for it, then respect to decision. The way I say, आपका decision है. आपको किसी ने झूठा वो कैसे बोलेंगे उसको, गुमराह नहीं किया है. Nobody has told you a lie and tried to inspire you. Now that you've made the decision to come, then फिर आके फिर उसको अच्छी तरीके से निभाओ, करो. Then become worthy of that decision. Become somebody who's physically fit, who's able to pass all his basic tests. Basic test तो पास कर सकते हैं. Excellent तो खैर मेरे हिसाब से तो excellent होना चाहिए. And why not if you are there? And become a good human being. ये छोटे मोटे क्या बोलते हैं उसको, शॉर्ट टर्म गेन्स. मैं इसको ऐसा बोल दूंगा तो वो खुश हो जाएगा, मैं उसको वैसे मैनेज कर दूंगा तो वो वैसा हो जाएगा, वो देन यू लूज योर फोकस, द मेन फोकस जिसकी ट्रेनिंग या तालीम आपको दी गई है. यू देन स्टार्ट रनिंग हेल्टर स्केल्टर टू अचीव व्हाट वाज नॉट टॉट टू यू. फिर आपकी जिंदगी वही बन जाती है. यू बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट काइंड ऑफ लाइफस्टाइल.
Got it.
So yes, challenging, enriching. It gives you a lot of confidence to become what you are or what you have. अभी I am 33. मैं 11 साल नौकरी करके आ गया. I am a major. I would have picked up the rank of lieutenant colonel in a year or two. So if I see what I have achieved or what I have learned or what I have experienced is so much more. That is the good part. And yes, बाकी सबके आपकी अपनी जर्नी, आपके डिसीजंस हैं. Learn from your journey, learn from your decisions. No two men are alike.
Same, correct. Yeah. So thank you, sir, for your time on this session. I hope a lot of people who will hear this conversation will learn about the armed forces and your life in the Parachute Regiment. So thanks a lot, sir, for your time on this session. Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you. Jai Hind and Namaskar.